Welcome to the Men Talking to Men podcast. My name's Richard Gordon Kelly.
And my name's Gary Bridgman. Men Talking to Men podcast is a podcast that does exactly what it says on the tin. It's about men talking to men about their experience in a changing world.
So please enjoy this episode and let us know what resonates to you.
Recording in progress.
That's why I pushed leaving meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I was going to say, we was talking about coffee cups just before we press record, and mine's got Mr. Right on it, see?
Perfect.
And there's another one that says, for my wife, says Mrs. Always Right, which I suppose, just looking at it then, as this men talking to men, that is kind of a trope in culture, isn't it? But a friend of ours bought us that. So I'm Mr. Right and she's Mrs. Always Right, which is... I think how it should be, really, shouldn't it? That's how it should be.
Well, as long as you are Mr. Right, then I think you won't be left.
Yeah, exactly. So, Mikael, I was interested about your football career because I support Crystal Palace, so I'm a bit of a football fan. But so this is the interesting thing. Well, it's interesting for me at least. I only became a football fan after the World Cup, as I think a lot of people do, don't they? They move into football and after the major competition. And I never really supported football. I was kind of supporting rugby a little bit more. And I always had this kind of arrogance about, football. It's like, I'm not supporting football because the supporters, and football supporters are idiots. And it's just a certain kind of man that supports football, yada, yada, yada. So, and then I watched the World Cup and I just realized, I like football. It's a good game to watch and it's a good game, obviously, to play. But also then just realizing that again, that cultural trope about football supporters and men in football is also completely inaccurate. Of course, there's a wide variety of men in football. There's completely different kind of men that support it and show up. So what's your experience been in football? I'd be interested to know your history.
Well, that's a broad question and a long story, suddenly. Me being...
Or condense it.
Condense it into like one or two sentences.
Yeah, exactly.
I was quite good at kicking a ball when I was young. And
the thing about football is that socially it is such a wonderful pastime, both as a player and also as a spectator or as a fan or as a hooligan. And I think for me, my journey with football started when I started playing football, where 6 years old or what have you, around there, and then from there, growing up in the southern part of Denmark, back in the day, we had south that we could pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
So watching football on Saturdays and Sunday from Germany had a huge influence on how I perceive football today. But also we had what you would call a football Saturday, where we every Saturday had a match from England.
Yeah.
So we got both sides of it. And I remember buying, I think there was a magazine called Shoot.
Yeah.
In England, which I got from the local. I couldn't read it, but I just picked them up because of some color pictures in there, but mostly black and white. But all the stories were there. And I think that my love of football also came from watching Danish players succeed in Germany. Many players made it to Germany, which was considered one of the toughest leagues back then, and maybe one of the better leagues back then, football-wise. So naturally, the teams that I followed had Danish players on them, like Hamburg, which was not too far away, where we went to see games. On Saturdays, we drove down. It was about 250 kilometers, I'd guess, to go see the match down there. And then also other clubs further down south that I followed because of Danish players. In regards to you following Crystal Palace, it's so interesting because I have so many friends that have followed English teams, because of Football Saturday for so many years. And still, they still have they buy the jerseys and they go watch the games in a pub, even though they could watch it at home. They go to a pub, to a bar to share the joy and the disappointments. I have a friend who lives just around the corner. He's been a Leeds fan for I don't know how many years. He goes to Leeds to watch the games also, and he goes to watch it at the local pub, one of the local sports pubs. For me personally, I've never really had a one team that I followed that I think of as my team.
Yeah.
The closest I've come would be Man U, which was way back when Lou Macari played. But even the local team, but that's maybe because I moved to this city that I don't even follow them very closely. But they play in the best Danish league. But I don't care if they win or lose. I want to watch a good football game. That's why I watch it. That's why I go. And after being also involved in ice hockey, football actually is quite boring when you watch it because hockey is all over the place all the time.
But I mean, that's the sport, though, isn't it? Ice hockey. I mean, that's segueing off football. But I mean, if you think about kind of ideas around masculinity and men, then ice hockey is kind of up there in terms of the image that it has. It has a very what kind of man? Very. It's not a macho image, is it? It's a
warrior. It's a warrior.
Warrior image. Yeah.
Because you have the armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have the mask, so you're almost not recognizable. There's a huge misunderstanding about hockey players, as far as I've experienced, is that most people think that hockey players maybe aren't the most intelligent, not probably in the lower ranks of income and so on, but it is so far away from what reality is. Hockey players are a mix of the same bunch of people that go watch a football game.
Yeah. From
the CEO down to the guy handling goods in a warehouse. Same thing. Same thing. A lot of the players went to university while playing here in the local team.
That's an interesting image, though, of masculine to the warrior image.
And they're quite sensible, by the way. They're quite sensible. It's only when they put on the armor.
Yeah. So they're
not sensible.
It's the cape. That's the cape.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of brings to mind kind of the different types of mythology that you have around men and manhood and masculinity. The different kind of roles that a man will inhabit, and the warrior being kind of like a classic one. But what do you think? Is there a kind of the same kind of image in different sports? What would you reckon? Does each sport bring out a different aspect of masculinity for you?
We can talk us into that. If you, as a spectator, when you sort of have your first awakening, when you begin to listen to what's actually being said, and as I've said to Richard, all words are lies.
Yeah.
But especially when you listen to sports commentators or even political commentators or any commentator, when you start really listening to what's being said, nothing's being said. That's true. Nothing. I mean, I was listening, and I know Richard was following as best as he could this weekend with the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
But I had it on all the time and listening to two Danish commentators, and some of the stuff that's being said is sort of like we are so programmed to talk in the same way about stuff.
Yeah.
And we forget that we actually contradict ourselves all the time in the stuff we say. Nice way to read the wind. Oh, bad shot now. So it wasn't the wind now. So it's sort of like, you're trying to make it good, but you're not really making it good.
It was the ball's fault.
Bad read of the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they like to complain and say, "Oh, it was the ball's fault," or "It was the grass. It was the height of the grass, or it was the edge of the club that made that difference." But actually, it was the spectator. I know there was a spectator there who made the noise.
The guy in the red shirt.
Yeah, the guy in the red shirt. Yeah, that American going like that.
But Gary, I agree. There's something that we talk. The mythology is made by the words that come out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a lie.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't exist per se. You can't go to that place they talk about. And as I said to Richard a long time ago, and which I say to a lot of men, a lot of humans, is that it's just a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a game of pretend. We just pretend that the upper class people live in a better place. We just pretend that the drivers of Teslas are better people.
Yeah.
Just pretend.
Yeah.
So masculinity and sports, yes, there's a false history in that, because why is it so hard for men to come out in what you call masculine sports? It's just a sport.
Yeah.
Why did we have to put the M word or the F word in front of it? Like feminine or masculine? Why is that needed?
I don't know. I mean, that's the question we can explore. Why do you think it's needed? Yeah?
I think
because in some way it's needed because it exists. So it's like, well, it exists, so society needs it in some way. They have to have this kind of this duality of it.
Yes.
Yeah, the society needs that identity. They need to give it a label to something. Mm-hmm. That labeling is a pain because it affects everything.
Exactly. About the labeling. we had food, takeaway food yesterday for lunch here in our house, and then where we had it from is called Unique, and there was a label on one of the things, and my daughter took it off and put it on my forehead and said, "That's the only label I'll put on myself." But the thing is, and Richard, you're so right. It is. We need those terms. The conceptual thinking in order to put it on our world map. So we can stack people, or we can divide people, or we can and why is it that we always ask people, so what do you do? It's because most people need to put them in a certain place. So so you're over here, you probably vote like this, you probably earn this much, you probably drive this. Sort of like, I can relax now.
Yeah, because I've turned the unknown into something that I know.
That I think, yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I think I know. Yeah,
I think
it suits my thinking.
Yeah. So, and because now I've labeled it, I've categorized it, I've described it, I've given it some weight, then it's, it's less scary anymore. I don't have any fear about it because I can place that object in relationship to me in some way. I think it's interesting, though, to come back to that coming out thing as well. It's just, it does seem to be nearly in every kind of male sport. It's a difficulty. I mean, I wouldn't think of a sport where it isn't a difficulty to come out. Well, there probably is a couple, but I don't know. I mean, because there's just I would imagine just the societal weight of coming out, which is big enough. And then you've got the identity weight and the job weight and and sports has that for whatever reason. It has it in there. But if you look in history, at one point, gay men were just part of the brotherhood of men. It wasn't like there was a separation that we have now, and it just seems to me sometimes a little bit, why do we have that separation amongst men now?
See, and exactly, because we are in the trap now. As we talk about this.
Yeah. I
mean, we are walking in the trap. We just don't realize it. Because us talking about people coming out, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Because why should they come out?
Yeah.
Exactly. Why does that even exist?
Why is that even an issue? Yeah.
Exactly. Because it was just a brother.
Yeah.
And we did not care about, we don't even think about sexuality. I never think about it because it's none of my business.
No.
When would it become my business? If somebody came on to me, and it doesn't matter what sex it is. Now it's an issue.
Yeah.
Because of where I see myself, it's a no to all sexes. It's not of interest to me anymore because I am where I'm supposed to be, the way I experience my life is supposed to be. If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
The funny thing is about any relationship, and it goes for the relationship between three of us and with our partners, is that in the most normal prayer we have, which I probably can't recite in English, but there's something about, keep me safe from evil. I don't know how you say it in English. I only know the Danish version of it, provide our bread and so on. And, forgive our sins as we forgive our sinners and stuff. And then there's the part of the evil thing. For me, that means the evil side in me. That God must help me to protect everybody else from my worst side.
Yeah.
So when you say yes to someone or to something, you're saying no to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a funny thing because you will hear so many people when you talk to them, I'm so bad at saying no. Then just say, but every time you say yes, you say no to everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a lot better saying no than you think.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that the yes eradicates all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when you're asked to do something, make sure that it's a huge yes and not a small yes or partly yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're actually polluting the project or the assignment or the party or what have you, or the game, if
Mm-hmm.
you're not fully engaged. So it's a fully engaged yes that's needed when you say yes, not a half-assed yes. That's better. Then it's better to say no and keep your pollution away. Yeah. Then you left the project safe. You haven't touched it. You haven't disturbed it. You haven't disrupted it. If you can't go fully in.
I suppose that's a lesson I'm just learning kind of now. You know? I mean, it's quite funny that you talk about, when you have your first awakening, that there's still this constant unlearning that you do. It just doesn't stop. And, even now I'm starting to realize, I need to not say yes unless I'm absolutely 100% committed to doing, and not on the fence, because it just doesn't work any other way.
But Gary, make a note of how you worded that.
Mm-hmm. Go on then.
Say it again. You can go back and listen to it, but you can say it again.
Say it again. I can barely remember what happened.
I have to make sure that I don't say yes. Why are you telling
me? A half-hearted yes. Yeah. I have to make sure. Why am I telling you that?
You're telling me what you don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. We've got that away. Now, what do you want to do?
Yeah. The only thing that's coming up is just to show up as I am.
Because you can't do anything else, can you?
I can't do anything else.
No. See, raw and unfiltered. That's why everyone's a badass if they just show up raw and unfiltered. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. That's a true Gary.
Yeah.
That's the human that somebody decided to call Gary being truthful to soul, to heart. Now, that doesn't mean that the thing is that when we answer from love, we are really protecting everyone. That's the whole issue with answering from your heart. And people do not understand how powerful a no is. But the best thing about a no is that you can change it to a yes when it's the other thing. That's why yes is such a weak word. Really, because you say yes and don't mean it, but you cannot, when you said yes, you can't change it to a no. So if somebody requests of you an answer now, go with no. Just go with no and see what happens. Because it's not no. The no is not eternal. It's just right now, this moment, in this here now moment, I have to say no. It's not a rejection, it's redirection.
And is that, then are we saying that that's like a personal, what's coming up, personal internal commitment to me? That commitment you can have is say yes or no to it. But that commitment, as you said, showing up raw as a badass, but that's a commitment from you. And then you're just expressing that out and saying, yeah, I'm here. And no's okay. And yes is okay if it's coming out as being truthful for you. But as you said, we're so much programmed to go, yeah. But that yeah is not the same authentic as yes. That's the joy of saying yes, because it really is meaning something to me, not to the other person external. And it's the same for no, isn't it? If the no is really a truthful no from within, the person gets it. And they wouldn't have to ask again because they know that it's the truth. And you're being who you are as an authentic person in that moment. And as you said, it can change. It's like, I love everyone. And I really do. I love everyone. But I choose if I want to like them or not. Truly. Because, it's in the moment. I can't say, I like Gary Woman and I don't like him. It's just in the moment.
Yeah.
as Laurie Ladd always says, in the here now moment, which is all we have all the time. And I don't even like the word time, because time is measured by us, because we've invented a clock. Mm-hmm. Back in the days, they used the sun or the moon, or what have we? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or when the fruit is ripe, or when the flowers are blooming, then we'll meet again.
You'll get me singing now.
Yeah. You're right in the middle of it. You're right in the middle of all the blooming flowers.
Well, I should be, because I've sort of given all them the seeds of joy, of love. Mm-hmm.
When you really, really begin to listen, as Rich and I have talked a lot about listening, mm-hmm. when you listen to explore, you'll see so much more. Mm-hmm. And listening with your whole being, especially with your eyes. Look at people when you so they know you're present in that here now moment, because you're so important. It's so important to be heard. Mm-hmm. And most people are longing to be heard. It's maybe the one thing that could change the world as it is right now. And what does real listening mean? It means unfiltered, raw, no prejudged. He doesn't have to say it in a certain way for me to listen.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to have a certain opinion for me to take, use this present to listen to what she has to say. And most people, they give away so much. They give away so much when we listen. Just let's, as an example, people go to job interviews, hoping to get the job. So they get the job. Now they're in trouble. That's where the trouble begins. As long as and that's why no is such a good word, because it sets you free. But they got a yes to, the application. I'm hired. And just if you listen to the talk that then comes, but I don't have the competencies. I don't know what to do. Well, isn't that why you got the job?
Yeah.
Wasn't that why you applied? Wasn't that because you did not know? Isn't it because you want to explore? You mm-hmm. want to grow. Isn't that why because if you don't want to grow, just stay where you are.
Yeah.
Go be unsafe for a while. You have to suck at something before you become badass. Everybody has. Everybody does all the time. The good ones, they know they suck, but they know they're okay mm-hmm. while sucking at something, while not getting it right. Mm-hmm. Fail means first aid in learning. That's the abbreviation that we use for it. First aid in learning. So let's hurry up and fail and use that as our redirection to a better solution the next time, mm-hmm. next try.
Yeah, it's one thing I've always, it's always been true for me here is this idea that that failure is the only way I'm gonna get to where I want to go. It's not an option. It's like I can't have success. I mean, I don't even know what that is. It's just like all I can experience is failure and constant failure on my path to whatever success means to me. It's funny at the moment because I'm just getting back into photography after I've always taken pictures, but I've only sort of picking up photography again as I'm going to do this for myself. I've gone through a big journey in my photography where I've done it for, I've done for friends and family and taken pictures for them, and even did a bit stint as a wedding photographer. And now it's, and I could always take a nice picture with a camera phone. And then I just thought, right, I need to get back into this and do it again. I'm shooting with film, but the last roll of film I had was I looked at it and just went, picked up the film camera, took a film, took a roll of film with it, and a lot of nice pictures came out, and then did another one and they weren't too bad. And now I've just done another roll and all of them are just like, oh my God, it's like I wouldn't even know how to use it.
So you're getting the course correction.
Yeah, I'm getting the course correction. Just
That's
that,
all it is.
And it's like, oh, right. I need to think about this a lot more than I was doing in the last reel. I need to, there is a moment where you see a picture, but it's like, the picture I'm seeing, can I actually capture it in the reality that I've got in front of me? And those two things were not lining up after all. I mean, I could see the picture, but then I wasn't checking reality and saying, right, can these two things line up? Is the lighting correct? Have I got the right subject here? Are the angles in the right place? Are the lines there? And yeah, it was just completely missing it. I'm not sure. Completely gone.
Now, and the thing is, Gary, are you having fun?
Yes. Yeah.
Then who gives a shit about how it looks?
Exactly. Because it's the same with, that didn't work. Okay.
I mean, we are here for such a short time.
Mm-hmm.
We are not even a speck of sand in the universe. That's how tiny we are. That's how little ripple effect we really have. But here's the thing. Your ripple effect will be a tsunami when you have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will pick up on fun. They will pick up on the vibration of fun and love coming out of you, streaming out of you. Because you're doing something that you really, really just enjoy and love. And you just do it because you love and enjoy it. And the thing about a picture is that when you watch Crystal Palace playing a game and you look at the scoreboard, some people will like to look at the scoreboard, what they see on the scoreboard. And some people will dislike it because it's not the picture they want. So it's like a tennis match. You have two players and an umpire, referee. He doesn't care about the ball being out or in, but the players do. He just calls the shots as he sees it. But one player finds that's a great deal that was out, where the other player finds it that's not good. But it's the same picture.
Mm-hmm.
So it is the perceived perception. It is that this is good or bad. We make it that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the picture. The picture doesn't make good or bad. It doesn't even know it exists. It's not there screaming at you, I'm a good picture, I'm a bad picture. It's not what it does.
Mm-hmm.
It's your filter.
Yeah, what I'm saying there, what I'm hearing there is the picture itself, or the scoreboard, or the ball landing in or out of the line, it's neutral.
Mm-hmm.
It really is neutral. It's just the fact is we perceive it as we see it. And our eyes are very good at deceiving us into making it think something that it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because we rely on these eyes so quickly, and then so quickly the thought comes in. But you got to say, hey, is that really true? Is that really real? Is that something that's really happening right now? Or is it just my thought just popped in and went, hey, hello, let's choose this one today? That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, that all being said, that it is perception in terms of how I'm looking at something, whether it's a good picture or a bad picture, or a good shot or a bad shot of tennis. And yet I can, we can all see the difference between a good picture and a bad picture, and a good tennis shot and a bad tennis shot, can't we? Yeah. So both of those things are true. That, if I let go of this need to categorize any of my experience, any of my efforts that I've had, over photography or sport or work or relationships or whatever, the more it seems that whatever comes out or shows up afterwards is actually better than it was before in a subjective sense.
I think one of the interesting things here is that we have this tendency to try to better things all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hands up, who doesn't? I mean, we all do it.
Yeah.
We all do it constantly.
And it is also because we have this programmed belief that better is possible all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that what if we began somewhere else at being better at listening, or being better at being attentive to people, being better at showing love, being better at simple stuff as picking up garbage that somebody left next to the garbage can. There's a tendency to think that bigger is better, but only better is better. And sometimes it's the smaller things that actually come together to be, make things better in a bigger term, the bigger picture. One man's tragedy is another man's fortune. One man's loss is another man's victory. But it's the same game. It's on the same scale. it doesn't say anything about us if we lose a match or win a match. It doesn't change us. We just think it does.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing in the future. And the past never happened in the past. It happened in another here now moment. We can go back. And whenever we go back to something, we go back to the last time we thought about the thing, which was that moment was the last time, was also going back to the time before that, what we thought about it. But we can never go back to what originally happened because we have so many filters and so many layers put on it and so many different perspectives of it because we do the 360 around ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
For me, there's a huge, one of the areas I've struggled with lately or the last couple of years is the word acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, it involves some kind of fight between what can I accept, what is okay with this situation, what's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's become more of I take note of how it is now. I don't need to accept that it's raining. I just take note of it. But when you listen to people, they are always in battle of acceptance. There's some sort of conflict going on about this is not right, this is wrong, this could be different, but I can accept it. But not really. You're not really being truthful. And the same goes with respect. People talk a lot about respect, but that's actually all they do.
Definitely. There's a lot of that going on. It goes on in sport a lot as well, and in society that it's very much, because we understand that to give people respect or to show respect requires a certain amount of humility in us, and that is difficult for us to find.
Yes, I agree, Gary. And I think one of the most liberating things to say is actually, I don't know. I don't know, because it leaves everything open. I've probably also Rich and I talked about this, about coaching and people coming for, I need some tools and stuff. And I always say to them, I can give you a hammer and a screwdriver, but I can't give you tools.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, why not? Because if I give you a tool, you'll have more thinking. You'll try to pick up the tool with your thoughts every time you're in a situation. And the tool might work a couple of times, but after the fourth time you try it, it doesn't work. Then what? Then I'll come and get another tool. Exactly.
Yeah.
The tools are made up. We really don't want to have more thinking. We really just want to wake up and experience that we are just thinking right now, and actually, being safe by being unsafe about our thinking, knowing that we are okay. Don't need a why. You'll be okay. You are okay. Be okay. People want to understand all the time. If I only understood. When you hear this, ask them, let's just pretend that somebody could give you an explanation that would make you understand. Then what? Most of the time they'll say, I would then be at peace. If you stay quiet, they'll give away what they really mean, because they'll start arguing with the understanding that was supposed to give them peace. Because now they have a different perspective and they want to sort that out. Not understanding is great. It will give you peace. You can just take note. I don't understand. And I have no need.
Yeah.
Does this make sense in any way? What comes up with you guys when I say this?
Yeah, for me, it's just listening to that. What popped up is that we're always advice-giving machines. When you were saying that, and I was like, this sitting in silence as Mikael's talking, it's actually wonderful, because I'm just going inside me. And then it popped up. Yeah, but don't forget, you're an advice-giving machine. So you've got to give something to the people who's listening to this. And I'm like, no, because this is real truth from what Michael was saying now. It's just wonderful. Yeah, everywhere we go doing trainings or coaching or business, a guy does, people like to give advice. And yet they don't listen. I'll give you advice, but I don't listen. And that's what you've been sharing there. I found it wonderful just to listen to what you were saying about the failure. It's the first stage in learning. It's really that thing. Let's fail to learn again. Let's unlearn to learn again, as you shared with me. It's all about that. You know, I've heard other people who've shared about, you know, creating that possibility with their partners. And if it doesn't work out, okay, they just redo it again. Because they come back to being in that moment instead of putting the blame on themselves. Okay, why am I not like this with my wife, and why am I not this with my team, etc. Because that moment's gone. But you can actually create a new moment here now in this moment to being who you can be. And that's what I was getting from what you were sharing there.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good points.
Got nothing. So
over to Gary.
No, I mean, what's interesting is that we had our in-laws here the other weekend, and at the end of that weekend, my wife said, "Oh, you really tried. Thank you for that. You know, you tried really hard. I could see how much you were trying when you was with them. You know, really engaging, being happy. You know." And I was like, "I wasn't actually trying at all. It wasn't any effort, you know, because I was just, okay, I'll just be myself, and I don't have to put anything, you know, if I have to put a mask on to be a warrior, then it becomes an effort to put all that armor on. I have to put it on, I have to strap it up and to put it there. And so the people get through me, and I've got to carry it as well, you know, and it's weighty and it doesn't protect me. So it was more, I just be and just let it come out.
Oh, the in-law test.
Yeah, the in-law test. Yeah. I mean, not that, you know, there's any kind of negative relationship with my in-laws. You know, we're fine, but I had a tendency to show up in a way which was very closed and tight, and not want to expose myself and to be seen.
Now, see, Gary, you saying that, have you said that to your partner?
Yeah. We have these kind of conversations.
What does he say when you say that?
Oh, what she says, it's you know, it's not that she comments on that. It allows an opening up from her side. So I wouldn't be able to tell you what she says. It's more like, you know, if I open in this way, then what comes back is something open as well.
Wow. See, you should say that to your in-laws.
Yeah.
Because that's raw and unfiltered Gary. Mm-hmm. Being truthful about how he perceives himself, being afraid, being scared, thinking falsely, innocently, and completely off with the wrong thinking, that there's something that can hurt you being you.
Yeah.
Being truthful is actually what badasses do. Saying, I'm just scared. I don't know. I feel awkward. I'm frustrated. I feel lonely. Just get it out there so it'll float around to all the other souls, and they'll pick it up and send you love and vibration. Isn't it funny how there's a warrior pose when you can try this later where you, because I don't want to see it now, but you can bend down and look down to the floor and go into your feelings and go into your stomach and really, really find, oh my goodness, I have no power. And then you take one step forward, and then you stand up and you raise up and you go, yeah. And just by sitting here, I'm getting goosebumps and adrenaline, and oxytocin is flowing down from my brain now, because it's all energy, because my body knows when I do this, it knows, oh, he's doing this now. We better get ready because he's about to explode. He's going to come out with all this energy. We're ready. Whoa. And here it goes.
I might put that at the end of one of my yoga classes.
And you should, because that will leave them, it will blow their mind what happens. Chemistry.
Yeah.
Because of the vibration and because of the physical vibration that they pick up from you, they will understand how powerful they are. That's a wonderful idea. Because when you start looking and listening with your eyes when they walk in, just watch for how they carry themselves into the class. It's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
And you know, especially in yoga and Pilates and what have you, and stretching, that it hurts more when you're mentally down. Mm-hmm. the body will not help you because you're not helping your body. Something is coming out now, Gary, and I can tell you're thinking something here.
No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about doing it. That's what I'm thinking about. I was thinking about doing that. I was just like, I'm going to go do that.
I mean,
it's closed. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to go do that. I want to go see how that feels.
I've done that before. I've done that in sport. I've done that in for the rugby. I've done that in other activities. But and I've also done it on retreats and stuff. But actually, I did it on the beach and stuff like that when I was traveling around. Just that bending over and just going, yeah, and just it releases something. Mm-hmm. And it makes that connection of the body and mind connect so much differently than, as you're saying, Mikael, you walk into the room of the yoga class and you'll be like, and it is hard. I remember doing yoga years ago and I thought it was really hard until the lady says, get this out of your head and you'll be able to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I was amazed what I could do when I took this out of my head, all that thoughts. It was fantastic. And to imagine you can do that in any sport, you could do that in any business that you're creating. Take out the garbage that's in your head, and you've got that full exposure to explore and to be creative as much as you want to in your business or in your sport or in your practice, whatever.
Yeah.
But that releasing and going, yeah, I am powerful. I am great. People are afraid to say, I'm powerful. I'm great.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a lot more fearful than actually living in fear.
Yeah.
Which is actually strange, and also because when you do that tiny little exercise, it's a reset, it's a wake up call. You connect, as Richard said, you connect again. Feet on the ground, look and listen. Feet on the ground, look and listen. And you can do this other exercise, standing or sitting. Sit down in your lotus position, get comfortable. Raise up, look up, and then if you're sitting down or you're standing up, they can look up and look just slightly above your head.
Mm-hmm.
Close your eyes, but keep looking up. Count down from 30. Relax your shoulders, breathe, relax your jaw. The thing, what happens is that you empty your mind. Because when you look up to inspiration and to future. You look over the horizon. And what happens is that you cannot, when you do that, you cannot keep those thoughts that are occupying at the moment in your head. And most people will actually, when you ask, what were you thinking before we did the exercise? They can't remember.
Yeah.
It's like a complete reset of your thinking. And then you start your yoga class. Mm-hmm. Because now there's nothing in the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it. Right, I'm going to do that on the next yoga class and see. Blow the mind.
Hey guys, these are good tips. These are good tips.
And you can leave us a Google review on your way out. Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah.
The thing is that especially because you do yoga, it's where you're trying to connect. You're trying to erase the divide, actually more than trying to connect, because we are always connected. But we think that we're divided, body and brain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we are programmed throughout our upbringing. There's them and us, duality all over the place. There's a division, men and women, homosexual, bisexual, what have we.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's only to create more division. It doesn't matter to us what sexuality the others have. It doesn't matter if they live on X Street instead of Y Street. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to us. They are smaller than a speck of sand here for such a short time. Why should it matter? So many people play the pretend game. Let them play the pretend game. They're afraid of waking up and actually seeing how much of a badass they are. They don't need all this stuff. They don't need all the layers. Use things, love people, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The chair of the CEO does not know he's sitting in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the chair that gives the power. The title. It's not the person. The PM, you could take away the title. Who is he then? Give the title to someone else. Power is either positional or influential. And I know which one I want. Your power, Gary, is that you have so much influence in regards to who comes to your yoga class. Their takeaways will change lives. If they leave upbeat, they might pet their dog one more time. They might give an extra hug. They might give place in the traffic back home to someone who can't get out from a side street. They might pick up the trash that somebody left. Don't look for big changes because they aren't there.
Yeah.
All small changes are big changes. Mm-hmm. A little change by you will change a lot for you.
It's something that's been coming up recently is that, you somehow feel that you need to be big to change the world, that you need to be, but in fact, you just don't need to exist to change it completely.
You're so right.
I think on that note, I'd like to thank Mikael very much for his contribution today and for the podcast. We covered quite a few areas there, but I think the power at the end was wonderful to see and to hear that space, quietness and peacefulness, etc., from everyone here. And I hope everyone will listen to that as well and hear that as well for themselves, what it brought for us here in this podcast. But as you say, vibrate out to others who will be listening to this podcast later on. That was a wonderful moment.
Yeah, thank you, Mikael. It was.
Thank you, Mikael. Thank you, Gary. Yeah. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, guys.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Do you want to create a more harmonious and balanced life? The Brussels Yoga Loft is a community-focused yoga studio supporting you in your journey of inner transformation. Our classes, workshops, courses, and resources will help you grow your consciousness, deepen your practice, and strengthen your connection between mind, body, and spirit. Thank you for listening to this episode of Men Talking to Men, a podcast produced by Gary Bridgman and Richard G. Kelly, and sponsored by the Brussels Yoga Loft. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider becoming a patron at www.patreon.com/Men Talking to Men. Memberships start from as little as €3 a month and come with a range of benefits. Thanks for listening.